adapting to climate change because Canadians are already seeing what this new reality means for their lives. Floods and wildfires that threaten their homes, heat waves that claim lives, and droughts that wipe out crops. We know climate change is here, is real, and is happening today. And you need support. Just take your home, for example. People are proud of their homes, and rightly so. You've worked hard for a place to set down roots, raise a family, and retire. But as any homeowner knows, the work on a house is never really done. Maybe you notice that the poor ceiling around your windows means it's drafty in January, or that your old furnace means the heating bill goes up every year. And as much as you'd like to invest in a retrofit, you just don't have the money on hand. Add to that, with a changing climate, your costs of adapting are rising. Canadians need a government that will be there for them. And today, I can announce that we're moving forward to make those retrofits affordable for Canadians, for people like Bindi. We will introduce a new interest-free loan of up to $40,000 for homeowners and landlords who want to make their homes more energy efficient. Now people will be able to replace those leaky windows or that old furnace, not only making their home more comfortable and lowering their monthly bills, but also keeping our environment healthy. It's a win-win-win. And if you're looking to buy a net zero emissions home, we're creating a new grant to make environmentally responsible living more affordable than ever. Of course, we need people to make all of these improvements happen, whether that's doing energy audits, retrofits, or building new net zero homes. There's going to be a big demand in the field, which is why we'll invest $100 million in skills training to make sure we have the workers to fill these good jobs. It's another example of how a healthy environment and middle-class jobs go hand in hand. For homeowners and for workers, this is real progress. But we can't stop there. Because in the face of extreme weather, people aren't just worried about their leaky windows or their old furnace. They're worried about being left alone to deal with the very real effects of climate change. In the interior, people are worried about their home being threatened by wildfires again next summer. À Gatineau et à Fredericton, les gens s'inquiètent de devoir s'absenter du travail au printemps pour empiler des sacs de sable et protéger leur maison.
Sandbags to
Les
protect their
catastrophes naturelles
homes
sont de plus
from
en plus fréquentes,
flooding.
ce qui veut
Natural
dire que ça va
disasters are
devenir une plus
increasingly
grande
frequent,
préoccupation
which
pour
means
plus de gens.
that this will become a greater
C'est pourquoi on
concern
va
for
donner
many
aux familles
people. And that's
plus
why
de
we want
soutien,
to give
que
families
ce
more
soit en mettant
support,
sur pied
whether
un
it is
programme
by introducing
national d'assurance
a
contre les
national
inondations, ou en élaborant une prestation
flooding
d'assurance
insurance
emploi
program,
pour ceux
or
qui
by
perdent leur chèque de
increasing
paye
EI
après une
benefits for
catastrophe.
people who lose their
If you've
wages
just been
after
through
a disaster.
wildfire or a flood, you should be focused on rebuilding your life, not on how to pay for the damage or how to pay the bills after time away from work. So we're going to make sure families have the support they need, from a national flood insurance program to designing an EI benefit for people who lose paychecks after a disaster. Now, not all politicians agree that we need a real approach on climate change and real support for families. After all, the Andrew Scheer Conservatives have the same do-nothing approach on the environment that Canadians remember from Stephen Harper, with a so-called plan that will do less and cost more. And that shouldn't come as a surprise. Even when Conservative politicians do admit that climate change is real, which lots still try to deny, they take the approach of the last Conservative finance minister, Joe Oliver, and insist that it's a good thing for Canada. Canadians know that just isn't true. My friends, we are taking real action to protect our environment and to put more money back in people's pockets. Under a Liberal government, we will continue to invest in Canadians and in their future. A new Liberal government will increase access to before and after school care. We'll ensure that all Canadians can take paid family leave when they have a baby. We'll ban military-style assault rifles and strengthen gun control. We'll make it easier to buy your first home and give more money to seniors for retirement. We'll create a fairer tax system and cheaper cell phone bills, and we'll make sure that everyone has the care they need to stay healthy. Mes chers amis, au bout du compte,
Friends,
la politique
ultimately,
consiste à servir les gens.
politics is
à vous
about
servir.
serving people, serving you.
Certains d'entre vous viennent peut-être de
Some of
terminer leurs
you
études.
may have
D'autres
just
profitent
finished your
peut-être de leur
studies.
retraite.
Others are
Peu importe
benefiting
vos
from their
circonstances,
retirement.
vous
Whatever
méritez
your
d'avoir un
circumstances,
vrai
you
plan pour
deserve
l'avenir.
to have a real plan for the future.
We've done a lot together these past 4 years, but the truth is, we're just getting started. So folks here in Delta and right across the country, you have an important choice to make. Will we go back to the failed policies of the past, or will we continue to move forward? That's the choice. It's that clear, and it's that important. I'm for moving forward for everyone, for families, for the middle class, and for all Canadians. Merci beaucoup.
Good morning. So there's a debate on whether it's fair to ask taxpayers to keep paying for homes that flood repeatedly. Since you're talking about a national plan, are you in favor of capping the total aid a homeowner can receive before they're asked to move, whether they want to or not?
We recognize that people are facing increased flooding because of the effects of extreme weather events and increased impacts of climate change. I have personally been to communities around Fredericton and Gatineau and elsewhere across the country where people are facing very difficult choices. We recognize, first of all, that many people can't get insurance, flood insurance anymore. And we know the government does need to step up, and that's why we're going to help homeowners access national low-cost flood insurance. But we also know there are going to be difficult decisions to make about whether to rebuild and where to rebuild. That's why we're making sure that communities and home buyers have information around mapping of floodplains right across the country, and that we lead a very real conversation about whether to rebuild, where to rebuild, and how to support families whose homes are under threat because of changing weather patterns. These are things that we are committed to doing together, and we will work with communities and with families to ensure that we're giving people the support they need faced with the challenges of climate change. Conservatives still don't think fighting climate change is a priority. Climate change is already costing Canadians. We need to act, and that's exactly what we're doing, and that's the choice facing Canadians. Okay. Nous reconnaissons que bien trop de
We
familles
recognize that there are too many
vivent des situations
families who
extrêmement
are
difficiles
experiencing
avec,
very
par
difficult
exemple, les
situations
inondations plus fréquentes
because of
qu'on
more
est en train
frequent
de vivre.
flooding, such as
J'ai
what we've been
parlé à
seeing.
plusieurs personnes
I've spoken
à
to a
Fredericton,
number of
Gatineau,
people in
ailleurs
Fredericton
au
and
pays,
Gatineau and
qui font
elsewhere in
face à des
Canada
inondations,
who are
qui
facing
bouleversent leur vie.
flooding that completely
Nous allons
upsets
être là
their
pour les
lives.
aider,
We will be there
oui,
to help
avec
them,
un plan d'assurance,
yes,
contre
with
les
a
inondations qui
national
soit
flood
national et
insurance
à prix
program,
modique.
a
Nous allons
low-cost
aussi,
program,
s'assurer
and we will
que,
also
les
ensure
individus, les communautés
that
aient plus
individuals
d'accès
and
à,
communities have better
de l'information
access
topographique qui
to
va
mapping
permettre de prendre les
information
bonnes
which will
décisions.
allow them to
Et
make
oui,
the
nous
right
allons
decisions. And
travailler
yes,
avec les
we will
communautés,
work
les familles,
with the communities
pour,
and
faire
families
ces choix difficiles
to help them
quand
make
on peut
those
rebâtir
difficult
ou quand il
choices
faut,
as to whether you should rebuild.
bâtir ailleurs. On va être là pour aider les gens parce qu'on reconnaît que les changements climatiques sont une réalité et affecteront de plus en plus les familles. Les conservateurs ne comprennent pas ça. Et c'est ça le choix que les gens doivent faire dans ces élections. Est-ce qu'on continue d'agir contre les changements climatiques ou on fait comme les conservateurs veulent et on fait absolument rien?
As a really brief follow-up, how much do you expect EI premiums to increase based on this?
We're going to work on program design in the coming months as a re-elected Liberal government, but we know that this is something that is needed. Far too many people, whether it was folks affected by the evacuation of Fort McMurray, whether it's people affected by wildfires here in BC, people affected by floods, when there is a declaration of a national disaster, we need to be there to support people who no longer have income coming in at a time of crisis in their lives. we will be there to support Canadians. Nous reconnaissons que ce soit à Fort McMurray ou ici en Colombie-Britannique ou au Québec avec des inondations, des gens qui sont en train d'essayer de sauver leur maison ou de se sauver eux-mêmes d'un désastre naturel ont besoin d'appui et ont besoin de revenus. Et donc, on va ajuster le système d'assurance-emploi pour qu'on puisse aider ces gens-là pendant des moments extrêmement difficiles.
Abigail Beeman, Global News. I understand that you have to commit to flood mapping first and that you're committing to $150 million to do that today before you can move forward. But talking about relocating people and is a huge expense. What exactly are you committing to in terms of the idea of moving people in flood zones and a low-cost national insurance plan?
Well, we're beginning with the low-cost national insurance plan and better flood mapping, but we recognize that there are many communities and many families that are facing extremely difficult decisions about whether to rebuild, where to rebuild, whether to relocate. And those are conversations that are being had amongst individuals and families and their municipalities and their provinces and indeed the federal government. And this is a conversation that we know is only going to become more difficult and more acute for more people over the coming years with the very real impacts of climate change. Our commitment today is that we will be there with people, supporting them through these difficult moments in their lives as we fight climate change. And that really is the core of the choice that people are facing. A Conservative Party that refuses to admit that climate change is a problem that needs real action, or a Liberal Party that has recognized that we have done a lot on fighting climate change, but we need to do much more. And that's exactly what we will do. Nous reconnaissons que c'est des décisions et des conversations extrêmement difficiles pour bien des gens, et dans les années à venir, il va y avoir plus de conversations là-dessus avec les impacts des changements climatiques. Mon engagement aujourd'hui, c'est que nous allons être là comme partenaires aux individus, aux familles, aux communautés, aux municipalités, aux provinces, pour avoir ces conversations, pour aider les gens qui font face à l'impact des changements climatiques. Ça fait un contraste clair avec les conservateurs qui ne croient pas que les changements climatiques sont un problème et qui refusent de mettre de l'avant un vrai plan pour aider les gens pour contrer les impacts sur notre environnement.
Yesterday you told Donna Friesen that you have not worn blackface since 2001. We asked you that on Sunday and you wouldn't answer the question. Why leave that idea hanging in the air, and did something change since Sunday?
I've spoken about the incidents that I recalled. I have recognized from the very beginning that this was something that I shouldn't have done. I recognize how wrong it was. I should have known that then, and I didn't. I will continue every day to fight against discrimination and racism and intolerance because that's what people expect of me, and that's what I expect of me. J'ai été ouvert avec les incidents dont je me rappelais. La réalité, c'est que j'aurais jamais dû poser ces gestes-là, et je le regrette et j'en prends la responsabilité. Mais je m'engage à tous les jours de ma carrière politique, dans le passé et dans le futur, de continuer à lutter contre la discrimination et l'intolérance.
Sur votre candidat dans Drummond, qui a des liens ou qui aurait des liens avec d'anciens ou des membres du crime organisé colombien, est-ce que vous avez vraiment fait toutes les vérifications nécessaires et pouvez-vous nous dire qu'il n'y a aucun lien et que une personne qui a été reconnue coupable, qui a fait de la prison pour trafic de drogue, ne supporte pas activement votre candidat?
La nomination a été faite selon un processus ouvert et transparent. M. Morales a été conseiller municipal à Drummond depuis 2013, a bien servi la communauté et évidemment a toujours côtoyé bien des communautés à l'intérieur de la municipalité qu'il desservait. Nous reconnaissons à quel point c'est important de bien servir les gens et on est confiant que M. Morales va pouvoir très bien servir. We recognize a process that was independent and transparent in terms of the nomination process to become a candidate. Mr. Morales has been a municipal councillor since 2013. in Drummond and has well served his community and indeed many communities within his community. In regards to any specific allegations, the candidate has addressed those.
Sur les inondations, il y en a certains qui pourraient dire on prend de l'argent public pour subventionner des gens qui puissent continuer de vivre dans des zones inondables, alors qu'on sait qu'ils sont inondables, alors qu'on sait que les inondations risquent de revenir. Comment vous pouvez dire aux contribuables qui vont payer pour ça, qui ne sont pas dans des zones inondables, que c'est pas une subvention ou qu'on n'est pas en train de payer pour que des gens puissent avoir un bord de l'eau alors que d'autres n'ont pas l'occasion de le faire?
On reconnaît qu'avec les changements climatiques, des zones qui n'étaient pas inondables avant deviennent de plus en plus inondables. C'est pour ça qu'il faut agir pour contrer les changements climatiques et c'est pour ça qu'on a tous une responsabilité d'aider les gens dans des décisions difficiles qu'ils vont avoir à faire. Et l'engagement aujourd'hui, c'est que non seulement on va lutter contre les changements climatiques de façon concrète, mais on va être là pour faire partie de la conversation et partie des solutions avec des individus et des communautés qui prennent des décisions extrêmement difficiles. On sait très bien que l'impact des changements climatiques va continuer d'augmenter et nous devons, en tant que société, de travailler ensemble pour aider tous ceux qui seront affectés.
Marika Walsh with the Globe and Mail. Even Asif says that you told her in May that she would be nominated for the Liberal candidate as a Liberal candidate in Vimy. Is her recollection of her interactions with you correct?
Decisions regarding potential candidacies for the Liberal Party are always processed in an independent and transparent process according to the rules of our party. We have a green light committee to do that. I have continued to engage with all our MPs and encouraged them to go through the independent process, and I trust the independent process that has done its work as a green light committee.
You didn't answer my question. I'm going to give you the opportunity to try that again. Did she or did she not recollect her interactions with you correctly? And I have another question for you. Was she denied the nomination because she refused to praise your feminist credentials on social media following the SNC-Lavalin affair?
The process around a green light committee is conducted independently according to the rules that we have. I had many conversations with Madame Nassif and with other candidates who were going through that green light process, and every time I expressed hope that it would be successful. But I trust the processes we've established as a party, and I know that those processes are properly followed.
And was she let go though because she did not endorse your feminist credentials after SNC-Lavalin?
I'm not going to comment on the specific decisions of the Green Light Committee, but those determinations are made on a fair basis according to the rules of the party. But in this case, that was not the issue that ended up leading to Madame Nassif being red-lit. Okay. Je peux confirmer que ce n'était pas la raison pour laquelle Madame Nassif a reçu le feu rouge, mais le processus de feu rouge est indépendant et nous respectons les décisions prises par le comité en question.
Prime Minister, good morning. David Yumert from Reuters. How concerned are you that the impeachment procedure now underway in the States is going to either affect or kill off ratification of the USMCA?
We've always been focused on the ratification of USMCA in a way that tries to go beyond the partisan differences in the United States right now. Our focus remains on ensuring that this deal, which is good for Canadians but also good for Americans and Mexicans, moves forward, and that's what we're going to remain focused on.
No concerns at all? No concerns at all?
Et nous reconnaissons que c'est un processus important de ratification et nous allons continuer de travailler avec tous les partis aux États-Unis pour assurer que cet accord qui est bon pour nos trois pays et les citoyens de nos trois pays aille de l'avant. In regards to specific concerns, we have right now a NAFTA in place that is securing our access to the most important partner in our most important market that secures 9 million jobs. We renegotiated a new NAFTA that will continue to secure those until the new one is brought in. The old one remains in place, and Canadians can be assured that we have solid access even at a time of unpredictability and protectionism from the United States.
Last night, CTV News reported on the case of a BC man who was given a medically assisted death despite pleas from his family that he was mentally ill, wasn't capable of making that decision, and didn't actually have a terminal illness. I'm wondering if you think that case needs to be investigated further, and moreover, do you need a second look at the guidelines for assisted death?
I can't comment on a specific case, but I can assure you that we understand that the decision to go ahead with medical assistance in dying is a deeply personal one, a deeply difficult one for individuals and their families. And as a government, our responsibility has always been to make sure we're getting that balance right between protecting the most vulnerable and respecting people's rights and choices. We will, of course, continue to work to make sure we're getting that balance right in the coming years. Okay. Je peux pas commenter une situation spécifique, mais je peux souligner que nous comprenons que la décision d'utiliser l'aide médicale à mourir est une décision difficile, personnelle, qui implique l'individu et sa famille. Et nous, comme gouvernement, notre responsabilité est toujours de protéger les plus vulnérables tout en respectant les choix et les droits des individus. C'est exactement ce que nous allons continuer à essayer de faire, assurer que cet équilibre est la bonne.
To that point of getting the balance right, will the federal government appeal the recent court decision in Quebec?
We continue to look at the situation and the proposals. We've always understood from the very beginning that this is a balance that we need to strike between protecting the most vulnerable and respecting their rights and people's rights and choices. Getting that balance right is something that we need to continually work on as society evolves, as new situations come up, and we are, of course, committed to continually making sure we're getting that balance right. Okay. Nous sommes en train encore d'évaluer la situation par rapport à la décision du Québec, mais nous reconnaissions depuis le début que c'est un enjeu sur lequel il faut toujours trouver le juste équilibre entre protéger les plus vulnérables et assurer la protection des droits et des choix des individus et de leurs familles. C'est pour ça que nous reconnaissons que ça va toujours prendre de l'attention pour assurer que cet équilibre qu'on a trouvé est la bonne. Et c'est pour ça qu'on comprend qu'il va toujours avoir des réflexions à avoir au fur et à mesure que la société et le contexte peut évoluer.
Morning, Salima Shivji, CBC. I'd like to return to your comments yesterday saying that we will exceed our 2030 Paris targets. At a time when the United Nations is talking about our oceans getting worse, I'd like to know why you're not saying how we'll do that.
We know that we need to not only meet our 2030 targets, but exceed them. We know we need to get to net zero by 2050. Climate change is real. It's a pressing challenge for Canadians. And unfortunately, we have a political party in the Conservatives that do not take it seriously and have no plan. We've announced yesterday and today two key elements of our plan to move forward. Yesterday is about investing in and drawing in innovators in the zero-emission industry, where there are going to be trillions of dollars worth of opportunities and profits as people develop the kinds of zero-emission technologies that the world is going to rely on to get to net zero by 2050. Today, we're announcing more money up front for families, for homeowners, and for renters and landlords to be able to make the changes in their homes that's going to save them money and fight climate change. We know that Conservatives do not get it and are not acting on it. Our plan, which is bringing us to reaching the 2030 targets and surpassing them, and more announcements to come throughout this week, is going to make sure that people know that we have to fight climate change, but we can do it in a right way that is responsible and helps homeowners.
What you're announcing will not get you above 79 megatons.
We know that we are going to reach our 2030 targets. We've gotten 3/4 of the way there in just 4 years. And over the next 11 years, not only will we meet those targets, we will surpass them. And we will be well on our way to net zero by 2050. The Conservatives simply don't get it. And that's the choice that Canadians are facing right now. Do we take climate change seriously? And do we help families with more money up front to retrofit their homes and renovate? Or do we do what the Conservatives are saying and give them less money in a tax credit once they've spent the money? It doesn't make sense because Conservatives don't get it. Nous reconnaissons à quel point c'est important d'agir concrètement pour aider les gens, pour aider les familles, pour contrer les changements climatiques. Et c'est exactement ce que nous faisons. Nous donnons plus d'argent dans les poches des gens pour qu'ils puissent investir pour rénover leur maison à l'avance, pour sauver de l'argent et pour contrer les changements climatiques. Les conservateurs, eux, offrent un plan qui ne fait pas du tout ça parce qu'ils ne comprennent pas à quel point on peut et on doit agir pour aider les familles, pour aider les gens à contrer les changements climatiques et à bâtir un avenir meilleur.
Eva Nassif, again, if she wasn't denied the nomination because of not supporting you as a feminist, then what was it? Why was she denied the nomination?
The determination around nominations is made by a green light committee following the rules of the Liberal Party. I can confirm that that was not the reason she was red-lit, but I will not go into details on the decision why.
Hi, Sandra Germani, Delta Optimist. You likely talked with Carla about this, but the George Massey Tunnel Replacement Project is a pretty big issue in Delta. Is this on the federal government's radar, and are you going to be, or have you talked with the province yet regarding some sort of funding arrangement on whatever option is chosen?
We made the decision in 2015 that the federal government needed to be a partner investing in priorities for communities right across the country. We also made the determination that Ottawa wasn't the best positioned to determine what exactly a community's needs were. And we have been there with billions of dollars on the table to work in partnership with provinces and municipalities on their priorities. That's why we are working with the province along their priorities. And I'm very much listening to both local representatives, municipal leaders, and the province on where and what they need to invest in for the future of these communities. The federal government will be there as a partner, but we will not determine what the right choice for Delta and for BC is. We will respect the province and the municipalities and their decisions. But the money is there, yes.
Chris Selly from the National Post. In your Global News interview, you said that we're not looking at decriminalizing hard drugs at all. Why would you not at least consider a measure that could ensure that addicts have access to a safer supply of drugs?
Safer consumption, safer supply, harm reduction, these are all science-based approaches that we fully support. We have moved forward on safe consumption, safe supply, harm reduction in ways that is having a real impact on this terrible opioid epidemic. We know far too many families, individuals, people from coast to coast to coast, but particularly here in BC, have suffered from the loss of loved ones, from devastating losses in their communities. And that's why we have a broad and serious approach on this. But the contrast, once again, and the choice Canadians are facing is clear. The Conservatives have continued to stand against harm reduction and safe supply. They continue to not understand that a science-based, responsible approach to fighting addictions is needed to help these communities and these individuals who've suffered.
Why not even consider decriminalization?
We are always looking at the science and the evidence on the best way forward, and as I've said, we're not looking at decriminalization as part of our plan. Okay. Nous allons toujours faire ce qui est nécessaire pour aider les gens qui souffrent. Nous reconnaissons à quel point l'épidémie d'opioïdes est un fléau, est une urgence pour les familles, pour les communautés à travers le pays. Et c'est pour ça que nous allons de l'avant avec des mesures concrètes qui aident, que ce soit les mesures de sites supervisés d'injection et d'appui basés sur la science qui aident les gens. On va continuer de le faire, mais nous reconnaissons que ce n'est pas la façon qu'on va solutionner à ce problème de décriminaliser tous les drogues.
Merci beaucoup.
Merci tout le monde.
Thank you.